All right. So before we move forward, I want to just take a moment to watch back the edit that we have so far. So let's check it out. Awesome. So there's a few things that stick out to me so far that I want to fix before we move forward. I think it'd be pretty cool now that we're adding some sound design already. We have this background audio going on. We have a filter that we added to this song, which was a high pass filter. I want to actually take this low pass filter that we didn't use. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it onto the beginning because remember we were going to use a low pass and it didn't work well because we were underwater. Well, that's perfect for this intro. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paste it here and I want to start everything and I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to start it so that it sounds like it's underwater. And actually, it would be kind of cool if it slowly came back to normal sounding audio. Right as we made this transition, we have this match cut with the hand touching the water from below the surface and then the hand touching the water from above the surface. Perfect opportunity to try and pull off a little bit of a cool audio transition in this moment. So let's just test this out. Okay, so we got to tweak this a little bit here. Okay. And I'm going to turn down the intensity by raising up the frequency. I know it's a little confusing with the low pass filter, but basically the higher this value, the less effect and the less the filter is cutting out of the audio. Okay, so still going to need to tweak it a little bit. Now I'm noticing because we're cutting so much of the audio, everything to the left of this keyframe, it's kind of quiet. So I want to create a audio keyframe. I can do it up here by doing this, or I can do it down here by clicking with the pen tool. Same thing, but we're going to turn it up and turn it down as this audio filter is getting disengaged. Okay, cool. Perfect. So we ended up actually using that filter. That's perfect. Now that we have that taken care of, now I want to add a little bit of a sound design element to this transition right here to help us get from track 1 to track 2. Now I'm gonna do a simple, just kind of hi-hat sweep sound effect. So let's go ahead and drag this in. Bada boom. You can find these super easily online. There's tons of packs. You can buy them. You can download them for free. It's just any kind of sound pack that you can find online is going to have hundreds and hundreds of sounds. So that's our sound. It's just a simple drum sound of what's that called? A cymbal, something like that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna expand our track, and let's duplicate this by holding Alt and clicking. And now I'm gonna reverse my direction like this. Oh, whoops. Speed, direction, reverse, boom. Wait, yep, there we go. And now let's put this at our transition right about there. And let's solo it just to hear what it sounds like. A little bit of extra space here between where the sound is and isn't. So I'm just going to scoot it over. Boom. As you can see, now let's take another listen. Okay, still an extra space. Boom. Actually, you know what we can do too to make it really sound like it's different? I'm going to just slightly slow down the second one, and that's going to drop the pitch down. Okay, maybe we can just do not so much, do 95 instead of 90. Nah, 90 actually sounded better. And now I'm going to pre-compose or nest these together to treat them as one clip. And we're going to add a reverb filter to really just kind of customize this audio layer. I'm going to add a studio reverb on here. I'm going to go up to the effects controls for this clip. I'm going to go to my favorite preset, which is Great Hall. I always start with the Great Hall preset, turn up the room size, generally turn up the decay. We talked a lot about this type of filter earlier in the course, turning down the dampening diffusion so that the effect lasts for longer. I'm not going to worry too much about turning the dry all the way up. The dry is just the original sound itself. The wet is the effect that is added to the sound. So if I turn the dry all the way down and leave the wet up, you're just going to hear the reverb of the sound. Okay, so this second piece of audio is too loud, so I'm going to drop that down. Okay, cool. And I don't think we need that much reverb. We can kind of turn these down a little bit. And let's unmute this and see how it's sounding. Okay, so that definitely helps. Now you can see we're redlining over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a hard limiter. I know we're getting into sound design all of a sudden. I wasn't planning on this. We're supposed to be doing video editing, not doing any audio design yet, but here we are. So I'm going to type in and put a hard limiter on. You can use any kind of compressor. You just want something to create a ceiling on top of your audio and bring down its maximum amplitude so it's not going to hit 0 and peak or distort. So we're going to do -2 for this audio track, the sound design below it, and for our first audio track as well, so everything is cohesive. Okay, perfect. Now I'm just going to do an extra point, -3. And just bring down a little bit of the second part of this. It doesn't need to be quite as loud. We really want the leading in part, the beginning part, so that we get that shh. We don't really need the rest of it to be as loud. Perfect. So if we listen to it without our sweep that we just added, and with the sweep, So that kind of swoosh helps to carry us between the transition between these two tracks. So I feel like we've been ready to hop into the next bit of this into the second track, but keep getting sidetracked. Now, let's listen to this real quick. Super cool, high energy track. And, when you're going through the demo reel, you want to keep in mind where the high energy footage is that you have. Now, I know I have this fire stuff, so let's go ahead and try that first. Because I want this to be a big boom. We're having a switch in song. We're coming out of this like drone, very elegant, slow moving, far away shots from aerial perspective. Now I want this to be a big contrast. So I think the fire footage is going to be perfect for that. Oh, yeah. Now I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit by making this clip come in sooner. Now we don't necessarily need that clip. Let's go ahead and move that back. Now I want to go into more fire because I know we have a different project that had some really cool fire footage. So just like how we did with similarities earlier in the edit, like hand, and then a few other things that we did, I'm gonna try to do that here. So I want this first shot is great, but because this has so much fire, I want to find one. Yeah, let's do this one. Just so we're matching at least a little bit, the amount of fire in the shot. Okay, you know what? I don't think we need this one. So I'm going to take that one away. Okay. I'm actually liking that. There's like a similar this shot is like leading the eye down and then boom, these just kind of cut together really nicely. So let's kind of scoot this over, drop this down. Let's see if this will cut in right here. I think that's enough fire footage. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, let's get into some of this cool stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag this in. Perfect. So this really cool effect that I did in After Effects fits perfectly with the cool audio cue that we're hearing at this moment. Okay. And I believe, yeah, I did some more duplicating, cloning effects from this past project. So let's do that similar thing. We have fire, 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 and then we're clone, 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 clone. Okay. And let's just kind of take a look at what we just did there. Now, I want some things kind of off here on the pacing. Yeah, I'm gonna put this shot first, actually, and then we're gonna kind of scoot this over. So this is just the editing process. You try, you undo, Command Z, whatever, Alt Z, undo, 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 try again, try again. So we're gonna get this flowing good, and then we're gonna move to the next section. Okay, perfect. So now we are at about the minute and 20-second mark. And if we listen to and the edit is looking good. And if we listen to the audio here, there's an opportunity at this part of the song to actually potentially finish the song. Perfect. Okay, I'm loving what's coming together here. And in the next video lesson, we're going to edit down this soundtrack because there's a part here where we can actually potentially end the song here and keep this demo reel short and sweet. So I'll see you in the next video lesson. Yes, so let's go ahead and find out how we can end this track. We want this video to end around this 1.5 minute mark because if we don't end it here, we're not going to get a chance to end it for a while. As you can see, the track is going to go for another, 2.5 minutes. So let's find our mark where we want to have this ending. Boom. Right there, right where I put the marker. Okay. Now what we can do is go to the end of the track and grab the ending. And we're going to kind of splice these two things together. Okay. So right about here, boom. It's honestly a little bit of a weird ending. So we're going to have to get creative. There's like this weird we don't want that because that's not in the previous part of the track we're actually using. So it's going to feel real funky if that comes out of nowhere. And then there's just kind of a weirdness. Yeah, it kind of sounds distorted, but not in a bad way, just in a stylized way that the artist, that's just how they created the track. So it's going to be a little bit harder for us to do this, but we're going to make it work. Now, let's sync these two up so that the in point here is synced up with this beat that we can see right here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and cut. And we don't want to have an abrupt ending, actually. Let's go ahead and fade this down so that we still get that final beat. Okay. And we can kind of fade this one in too. We might actually want to try bringing it in right there. So let's bring that in. It's okay. It's gonna take a little bit of massaging, so let's go ahead and just bring the volume down a little bit. There's this hi-hat that goes, and the abrupt stopping of that hi-hat is what's making this transition a little abrupt. So let's kind of see if we can repurpose this hi-hat that we, okay, we might be able to do something here. So the pitch is different. That's lower, and this is a higher pitch. The the sh Okay. So since the pitch is different, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this one up just a touch. Okay. And I think this kind of reverb is gonna smooth out the transition between, because this one, this ending, the end of the song is really kind of hard to work with. Okay, so not so bad. For what we're working with, that's really not too bad. I'm just gonna scoot over this fill or sweep that we have. Ooh, there we go. Let's hear it again. Perfect. Okay, now we can end our video just in that minute and a half mark. So now let's find what footage we want to go right here for this last bit. We got plenty of this kind of footage. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Let's see what else we have. Oh, yeah, I want to get some filmmaking stuff in here for sure. So let's drag that in. Hopefully this is gonna line up. Okay, I'm liking that. Okay, we don't really need this final one. I'm thinking for this ending, we can have a title card that has my website because, yeah, with a demo reel, you want to end it with some kind of call to action because the purpose of it is for someone to see it and for them to do something afterwards, whether that's hire you, buy your product, follow your account, share the video, whatever it is. So we're going to end this demo reel with a call to action.